Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about 3 recent first impressions that I had when it comes to new manga. But first, let me tell you about the sponsor for today's video. That's right, you can get Bang, The Ballad of the Tiger Volume 2 out now. You can get the physical edition or read the free edition via the Webtoon app. Bang, The Ballad of the Tiger is written by my good friend Josh Greathouse, and this is, in his own words, a fantasy battle comic playing off the sword and sorcery genre, with a girl wearing a silly hat and using kung fu instead of a guy with a sword and a girl with a boot. Bang did not sign up for this, neither did young Eddie. Yasmin did. Using their strength and grit, they will discover what it means to be their own person in this hard story of monsters, empires, ancient evil, and kung fu. All the links are in the description below, so thank you Josh for sponsoring this video. The first book that we're going to talk about is Gokurakugai Volume 1. This is written by Yuto Sano, published by Viz Media. In it, we follow the characters of Alma and Tao Saotome. These two characters are essentially troubleshooters in this world that, correct me if I'm wrong, hasn't been specified as of Volume 1 here. It's sort of this mashup of different Asian cultures, but predominantly Japanese. And in this world, they solve problems for a lot of people, but their real intent is to sort of be like exterminators or exorcists, if you will, to Manga creatures, which are these demonic entities that are born from resurrected flesh of man and beast. So I don't know if it's necromancy or some sort of dark magic aspect, but these are very foul, ugly creatures that feast on human suffering and humans themselves. So the true purpose of our main characters is to actually exterminate these creatures from the land, and to do so they will take on odd jobs that might be somewhat spiritually linked to the formation of these creatures. Now Alma is a very energetic character. He's always up for the challenge of a good fight, but is kind of a goofball, while Tao, well, she's just a badass sexy lady with a gun, and I am envious of her outfits. And same with Alma, they are styling, and I could never match those fits. That's one thing about this book that I really enjoyed, is the visual aspect. The character designs look amazing. Regardless if it's a side character or a main character, everybody looks great. The fashion is on point, and the actual just character designs, the clothing, and the way everything's built is very pleasing to the eye. Same with the architecture of this world. It looks fantastic. There are some very specific panorama shots and just views of their building, for example, which just looks great, filled with personality, intricately designed, and just very aesthetically pleasing. This is a really nicely drawn series, and I am looking forward to more volumes. This was way too short at just 3 chapters. Obviously, they're lengthier than a normal manga chapter, but still, 3, come on, we can do more. I know it's still ongoing. This came out in 2022, so it's a relatively new series, but it is filled with great action scenes, fun characters, and a really cool premise. Now, the one slight spoiler, and not really because it's one of the main aspects of the book, is that Alma is half Manga, half human, and is leaning obviously towards the human side, and is using his magical abilities, if you will, by sort of chainsaw manning his heart by removing a key from his chest and activating his powers to combat the threat of these creatures. And obviously, I guess as we go along with the story, we're going to find out that maybe some of these creatures are sent thanks to some bad guys that are influencing things behind the scenes, and the characters will obviously learn about this as the story goes on. But for this opening first book, I thought it was a lot of fun, action-packed with fantastic artwork. Highly recommend Gokurakugai if you're interested. The second book that we're going to talk about is Three Exorcism Siblings from Titan Manga. This first volume here is written by Shinta Harikawa. I am not aware of this creator. From what I remember, this is the creator's first non-BL series, which I thought was pretty interesting. The contrast of dozens of romantic series, and all of a sudden you have this action-packed, gritty, bloody shonen series about three siblings dealing with yokai extermination, basically. We follow the main character, Mamoru Yamaemori, who is the current family head of the Yamaemoris. This is a clan that is in service to safeguard Japan from the threat of Tengu. Now, the Tengu are not your typical yokai. These are more evil, perverse creatures that they only want to feast on human blood and flesh. It's more like a demonic beast that doesn't say much, but they have very creepy designs, and the more humans they consume, the more intelligence they gather, makes them even creepier. Our main character, Mamoru, spends his time as the current shrine guardian, fighting these Tengu and exterminating them from the land. He is protecting his two siblings from them having to work as shrine guardians and warriors. He would rather them focus on their school studies and all that stuff. So with that kind of lifestyle comes a lot of sacrifices. As a result, a lot of people don't really know about the existence of Tengu. They obviously call it folklore and myths and stuff like that. So they declare that the family is cursed, weird, and mysterious. Their parents sadly passed away, so that adds more to the lore of the Yamaemori clan, if you will. As a result, these brothers have had a very strange upbringing. The main protagonist, Mamoru, had it the worst when he was involved in dark rituals set by his father and mother, all in the name of protecting Japan and acquiring sacrificial blood that will make him more in line with the Tengu. So it sort of acts like a beacon that they will go after him, and I guess that raises his abilities or strength to be able to withstand the attacks and strength of these demonic beasts. There are a lot of elements of this manga that remind me of Demon Slayer. The fact that it's a sibling relationship. Demon type creatures are in Demon Slayer, and in here we have a Tengu demon-like beast as well, and they both have craving for human flesh. And the fact that there are breathing style abilities, yeah, this kind of reminded me of Kimetsu no Yaiba or Demon Slayer. I really enjoy the art. The fights can be a little bit hectic or chaotic once you're in the middle of everything, but it's dark, brooding, and it has a sense of dread when you read these scenes, and it really drives home the idea that these are horrific monsters, and the fact that it's up to this character to protect not just his siblings, but the rest of the population, just puts that much more weight on his shoulder and makes the fighting and his mission seem much more urgent. Not so much of a spoiler, but it is a huge plot point of this volume. Something happens to the character of Mamoru, and he is transformed. He sort of becomes this mixed hybrid of the Tengu while still remaining his humanity. And that, of course, reminds me of Demon Slayer with Nezuko, how she becomes a demon herself. And of course, Tanjiro's trying to save her and do all that fun demon slaying stuff. Here with three Exorcism siblings, you have the character of Mamoru sacrificing it all so that his beloved siblings can have normalcy in their lives. But obviously we know that is not going to last, and how these characters are now integrated into this secret, action-packed, and scary world of Tengu slaying. If you like action, battle shonen mechanics, and the whole mythology behind yokai, in this case Tengu, then you might like Three Exorcism Siblings. I thought it was a lot of fun. A little bit chaotic at times with the fighting, but the overall message with family, sacrifice, and protecting your loved ones and all that stuff, I think it's universal enough that people will gravitate towards the relationship between the three brothers, which really do anchor this first volume and lays a foundation for what's to come with the story. We're going to take a quick little break here. I did mention the sponsor of this video, Bang Ballad of the Tiger Volume 2 came out, and my friend Josh Greathouse, a wonderful creator, sent me Volume 2 so that I could check it out. I did a first impressions or review on Volume 1 a couple months back, and here we have Volume 2, continuing this great, wonderful story with fantastic artwork. We get more world building with the army side of things and these generals talking about this world and their conquest and how they expect to exploit their civilians after everything that has happened before, and it transitions in between that with our main character continuing her journey as we left in Volume 1 with Eddie missing in this large cave. We also have Yasmin, and the two of them set off on this dangerous quest involving a lot of goblins. There are other creatures that show up as well, which are really well drawn and action-packed. I cannot recommend it enough. This is a huge love letter to fantasy, folklore, anime, manga, Western comics in general. Just a really nice series, and Volume 2 just brings the heat with more action-packed scenes, so I really do recommend it. Bang Ballad of the Tiger Volume 2, another great set of chapters. I will leave a link in the description where you can get the physical volumes and the webtoon link if you want to read it for free via the webtoon app. The final book that we're going to talk about on this video, and I know, I'm a little bit late, is The Summer Hikaru Died. The first volume came out, I think, almost a year ago, so forgive me if you've heard these critiques before. I'm pretty sure I'm going to cover some things that a lot of people have already mentioned. We follow Yoshiki and Hikaru. These are two boys, they're best friends. Hikaru recently, before the start of the book, went missing, and he suddenly showed up. And right away at the beginning of the book, the first couple of pages, we have this amazingly drawn reveal that Yoshiki deduces that Hikaru is not who he normally is, and this Hikaru just reveals by accident who he is, and we see this spirit creature or whatever it is, we don't really know, by the first volume, and he is obsessed with Yoshiki, borderline romantically enamored by him, and wants to form a deeper bond and friendship because he has the body of Hikaru and the memories, so he has all this data of their friendship, and now wants to take it a step further after living through that in his head, I guess. Now wants to actually develop that into a more loving relationship. Yoshiki, on the other hand, can't believe it, and his reaction is much more subdued than what I would have done. So a lot of this first volume is his confusion, processing what has happened, what he's seen now, and the fact that something potentially dangerous and threatening is within what is the body of his former friend. Nobody knows. Yoshiki's the only one that knows, and as you start reading along the chapters, there's not a lot of spooks and scares, but the dread and the horror is slowly creeping in, and you start to notice these unusual things with each chapter, and that is one of the series' strongest elements that I really liked and was fascinated by. I am picking up the rest of the volumes so I can keep reading the story. It's super interesting. I like the character work, and I don't mind that it's a slow burn. I don't mind that there's not a lot of horror elements. I like how it incorporates that into the slice of life genre, and I'm looking forward to the relationship that will either form or crumble between our two main lead characters. Obviously, towards the end of the book, the horror aspect ramps up and you start to see more and more elements. This area where it's riddled with folklore and entities, spirits and all that stuff, they're sort of shaken up and stirred after this entity that is now Hikaru has left his area, and sort of everything is just escaping and bleeding through the population, and people are starting to notice weird things happening in this town. So that aspect was a lot of fun. The art is gorgeous. I love the character designs and the backgrounds and attention to detail when it comes to the rural life instead of the city life is wonderful. The colored pages, the whole presentation. There's a reason why this book got nominated for an Eisner Award, and there's an anime coming up which I think will air next year, 2020. 2025, but still fantastic nonetheless. The Summer Hikaru died. If somehow you haven't checked it out and you're intrigued, do not pass this up, get it. There's only 3 volumes, I think, as of me making this video, so you can catch up pretty quick. I will definitely do so as well. So there it is. I know it was a small video. We got 3 cool first impressions, and let's not forget, of course, Bang Ballad of the Tiger Volume 2 here. So I really had a fun time with all 4 books. Alright, that's going to be it for now. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. Thanks a lot. If you've read any of these books, let me know in the comment section down below. And if you haven't, let me know what are some of your favorite horror reads, some of your favorite action series, or maybe yokai and folklore, stuff like that, so that I can do similar videos to this one. Pretty interested in checking those comments out. Thank you everybody once again. Hit the like button on your way out. It means a ton, helps out the channel grow and all that fun stuff. Thank you for subscribing and of course being a part of the channel. I truly do appreciate it. I rarely do this because I'm a very forgetful person, but in the description below I have the link for my Discord channel. It's a really fun, small, niche community of awesome people where we just talk about anime, video games, manga, movies, share some memes, have some goofs and gaffs, all that fun stuff. So if you're interested in that, there's the link down below in the description. Thank you once again. God bless. Stay safe out there. I will catch all of you on our next video.